Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's webinar with St. Louis ARC. The webinar is Save with Missouri Able Accounts. I am Sandy Irwin. I'm the Director of Family Supports here at St. Louis ARC. Without further ado, I will turn it over to our presenter, Yvonne Reidman.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So yes, my name is Yvonne. I work with the Missouri State Treasurer, and we're going to talk about MOABLE accounts tonight. So what are MOABLE accounts? For too long, people with disabilities could not save for the future out of fear of losing needed government benefits. The disability community fought long and hard to change this, and together we've come up with a solution. A stable account through MOABLE is a way for Missourians to save for qualified expenses, invest for future needs, and keep the benefits that you rely on every day. I'm going to give you a little bit of background information about the ABLE program. In 2014, the Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, which is ABLE, was created. And this is a federal legislature. This is across the country. In 2015, legislation passed in Missouri, and we had the Missouri ABLE plan. And then in 2017, we joined with a partnership with the Ohio Stable Plan, and we became MOABLE. So you're going to hear these words, ABLE, MOABLE, stable. They're pretty much all the same thing. In Missouri, we call it MOABLE. Other states call it other things, but we are all under a partnership with the Ohio plan, and Ohio has 13 partner states, and we are one of them. So how does this work? Well, generally, an account containing funds that a Medicaid applicant or beneficiary can access is considered a resource in determining Medicaid and SSI eligibility. The law now requires that funds in an ABLE account, including earning on the account, be disregarded in determining eligibility for Medicaid and other federal needs-based programs. When we're talking about ABLE, we're talking about assets. We are not talking about wages. And I just want to state this in the beginning. You are still going to have to report your wages, and you're still going to have to come in under what's considered a wage in order to have Social Security income. When we're talking about ABLE accounts, we are talking about assets, not income. So right now, income limits for 2025, $23,400 a year is what you can make and still be eligible for SSI benefits. That comes out to about $19.50 a month. So we want to keep that in mind. We want to remember that this is income limit, not asset limit. Now, when we're talking about ABLE accounts, we're talking about asset limit. So let's just say you do have a job and you're making enough money and you're still getting Social Security benefits, but you're not using all that money every month. What are you going to do with your income? What's the point of having a job if you can't save money? Right now, you can only have $2,000 in assets to your name at any given point in time in a checking or savings account before SSI will come in and start to limit your SSI benefits. They'll send you a letter and they'll say that we've overpaid you, and next month, instead of getting $800, you're only going to get $600 or $400, depending on how much money you have over that $2,000 limit. And that is going to happen until your assets get below $2,000. So you can imagine how hard it is to save for a car or a home or pay rent or buy groceries when you can only have $2,000 to your name. So with a MOABLE account, here's how it works. You can put $19,000 a year from all sources in 2025. It just went up this year from $18,000. So that includes, we wanted to mention tax refunds. If you're getting a tax refund, you can put that money in your ABLE account. It is not going to count as an asset. If you are employed, you can save $34,560 a year in your ABLE account. So anytime you are receiving income, you can then take that income, you can put it into your ABLE account. Now, there is a lifetime limit balance of $541,000. I don't know what happened to my slide there, but it used to be 555,000 and now it's 500, or yeah, it used to be 541 and now it's 555,000. So that's gone up this year as well. Now, we do want to talk about SSI considerations. Once that balance goes over $100,000, it will be suspended and not terminated. That's a big deal. You don't want your Social Security benefits to be terminated. So let's just say at some point you do have more than $100,000 in your account. They are going to let you know, we're going to suspend your benefits. They won't stop them. They will re-give you or start resending you your benefits whenever it goes below $100,000. Now, another thing that's built into these accounts is that the system's going to automatically reject excess contributions. So the only way you're going to go over that $100,000 is if you allow the system to do that. So what do you need to do to be eligible to have a MOABLE account? Well, there's three basic things you need to know. So the first one is you need to be a Missouri resident. If for some reason you do open an account in Missouri and you move, you can transfer that account to another state. The second thing you need to have is be blind or have a medically determinable physical or mental impairment that results in marked and severe functional limitations, and such condition developed before the age of 26, and it will last or has lasted at least a year. So basically, you need to have developed your disability or be considered disabled before the age of 26. You don't have to be under 26 to open an account. You just had to have become disabled before the age of 26. Now, really good news, and this is due to a lot of legislation and advocacy. That number is going to change to age 46 on January 1st of 2026. So that's going to double the amount of people who will be eligible to open an ABLE account. So let's just say you're in your 30s and you have some sort of trauma or something that causes you to be qualified as having a disability. You will now be able to open an ABLE account. You're going to need one more thing, and it's one of the things on this list. You either need to be eligible for SSI or SSDI because of a disability, have a condition listed on the Social Security Administration's list of compassionate allowances conditions, experience blindness as determined by the Social Security Act, or if none of these apply to you, you can do what's called self-certification. Self-certification means that you are going to have a physician write you a prescription that says you have marked and severe functional limitations. This condition has lasted or is expected to last for at least 1 year. You do not need to send this in. All you need to do is have this written diagnosis on hand just in case you're asked for it. If for some reason you're not sure if you meet these qualifications, all you need to do is go to moable.com and there's a quiz. You can take the quiz before you even start to fill out a form. And this quiz is going to let you know, do I have what I need? Do I need some other things before I start this application process? I highly encourage everyone to go onto this website. There's so many interesting things you're going to find out on here that I just don't have time to go into. There's so many questions that are going to be answered. You can do a live chat feature. You can call, you can email. There's a lot of different ways to get a hold of them. So don't hesitate to go online and look that up. Okay, so enrollment. How do you enroll for your MOABLE account? Well, you're going to be surprised how easy it is. When you're applying for a MOABLE account, you don't have to employ somebody to help you. You can, if you want. There's a lot of people who are going to be able to help you out, but you can basically do it on your own. You go online, moable.com. It's very quick and easy. It takes about 20 minutes, and you only need $25 minimum opening deposit to open your account. So you don't need to have a lot of money to do this. You can do it as, a person with just a little bit of extra money to your name. So you can open the account yourself if you're the person who has a disability, or you can use what's called an ALR, authorized legal representative. And most people are aware of what this situation is. So you can use an attorney or a power of attorney, a conservator or legal guardian, spouse, parent, sibling, grandparent. It's going to go down the list in that order of who can open an account for you. And the reason you would do this is maybe you would like someone to help you manage your money or keep track of your money, or maybe you are someone who is not your own guardian, and that's not going to keep you from having an account in your name with your money. You can have somebody help you open that account and be listed on it for you. there's something called an entity ALR. And basically, this is for somebody who maybe works with someone who has a disability and they work with more than one person who has a disability. So, what this is going to help is you're going to be able to go online, you're going to set up your own management account, and then you can manage all the other accounts under you, and you don't need separate passwords or anything like that. All the record keeping is done within the portal. So this is just something to keep in mind if you are someone who works in that field, or maybe you are someone who has a guardian and they have more than one guardian, they can still help you open your account. Okay, funding your account. How do you get money into your account? There's a couple ways. You can transfer money from a regular checking and savings account. And this is a pretty easy way to do it. Keep in mind, this is not a bank to bank transfer. This is a transfer from your bank to a Moable account. It takes a little bit longer. It doesn't happen overnight. They say it takes 3 to 4 business days. So you just want to remember that when you're putting money in. You can write a check and deposit a check, or you can do payroll deduction if you are somebody who has a job and is working, and you can, payroll deduction is a very easy thing to do. You fill out some information online, give it to your employer. It's not a lot of work for your employer as well to do. And it's like a forced savings. It's going to force you to put money into your savings before you ever see the money. And so you're not going to be spending that money. It's going to go right in there. It is still going to count as income. Okay. So it's going to be looked at as income first, but then it can go straight into your savings account and not counted as an asset. And that's the important part. So I want to talk about investment options. One thing you want to know when you're opening your ABLE account is this is not just a standard savings account where your money sits there and it's not working for you. Your money can be invested and you can earn money on the money that you have in your ABLE account. There are 4 different investment options. These are all under Vanguard Mutual Funds. Vanguard's a huge company, so very safe, very reliable. And the way this works is you're going to have your bank safe option, which is just your pure checking account. Savings account. And then you have 4 other options. And these options are going to allow you to decide how much you want to make on your investments. So that first one, the income option, you're going to have 20% stocks and 80% bonds. This is the most conservative option. So you're only investing 20% of your money into stocks. Now, if you go down that row and you get to the last one called the growth option, you're going to have 80% of stocks and 20% of bonds. So most of your money is going to be in the stock market. You don't have to sit around and figure out what stocks you're going to buy. They do that for you. It's an investment account. They're going to, make those investments for you. You can go online and look at the growth, look at what's happening. If for some reason you change your mind, you can switch into different options twice a year. So you're not stuck with that one. But anytime you're dealing with stocks, they're going to rise and fall, and you're kind of in it for the long haul. So if you're someone who really wants access to your money right away, you might want to go into the income option, conservative growth option. If you're somebody who's, if this is for a child or somebody you want their money to grow, then go into the other options. Another really great thing to know about this is that Missouri has a tax deduction of $8,000 per person. If you do open, or if you have a Moable account and you're putting money into it, you can deduct $8,000 on your state income tax, 16 if filing jointly. Now, this is important to know for parents because parents can take this tax deduction as well. So if you open an account for a child who's a dependent and you're putting money into it, you can take that tax deduction on your income taxes. And as long as you're spending it on, qualified expenses, which I'll go into, which is basically, just living, you'll be able to take that deduction. There's something called a gifting page. And I like to bring this up because I just think it's kind of one of the sweeter things that you can do with a Moable account. There's a way that you can contribute to somebody's future by this page, and it's called the gifting page. This page allows anyone to give financial gifts directly into the Moable account. So you can invite friends and family and they can pitch in and they can add money to this account for a special occasion, or let's just say you're saving up for something special. Anything that's put into that money is not going to count as a resource or an income to the account holder. Something else that they started last year, it's called a savings booster. And this is just kind of a fun way to add savings to your account. So if you decide you want to set this up, you would decide how much of this money is going to go into your account. It's just a fun way to save, and you can make contributions without even thinking about it. So there's a website called weather.gov, and your account balance can go up every time there's a 50% chance of rain, hail, sleet, or snow in your area. So you're in charge. If you choose you don't want to partake, or you choose, you want to change the amount that gets put in, you can do that whenever you'd like. All right, so let's talk about the requirements. There are some costs associated with Moable accounts, and it's unfortunate they have gotten those down. It's $27 annually right now, and a few years ago it was $36. So once again, through advocacy, they've been able to get these costs down. But what they do is they take this money out monthly, so it's like a $3 fee a month. It really isn't that much if you consider how much you get, how much you can save with these accounts and not lose your benefits. If you're somebody who's really not using it and you only have, $50 in there, that money's going to get eaten up pretty quickly. So you do want to keep that in mind. You want to be somebody who's using this account if you're going to have it. Once again, you only need $25 to open it. You can contribute as little as $1, and you can withdraw as little as $5. So it's very, very simple to use. There are investment-based fees, and this is only on the money that you make off of your investments, only on the interest that you've earned, not on the entire account. And depending on what type of account you have, what type of investment account, is how much you're going to be charged. But it's always less than 1%. So it's not that much money that you're paying on your investments. And this is very typical of all investment accounts. Okay, so let's talk about spending your money. This is the fun part. How do you get to spend your money? So you have to use this money on what's called qualified disability expenses. And what does a qualified disability expense look like? If you can think of anything that's going to help maintain or improve health, independence, or quality of life, you're talking about a qualified disability expense. So we're talking about rent, we're talking about groceries, education, transportation, bus fees, gas, assistive technology, if you choose to do additions to your home. Health and wellness is a big one. A lot of things are not covered on Medicaid, especially when it comes to dental or eye care. So this money you can have available to use when these needs arise, and you don't have to worry about where it's going to come from. You can also look to your future, because now you can start saving if you want to live on your own, if you want to go back to school, or whatever it is you want to do. This money can be used for that. Keep in mind, you're not asking permission to spend this money. You're just using it on your expenses. The only time you're ever going to tell somebody what you spent the money on is if you were to get audited on your income taxes. And at that point, they might ask for some receipts. All the record keeping is going to be done in the portal. You might want to keep some receipts, maybe on the bigger purchases. But that's just the case if you get audited. You're going to have to account for pretty much everything anyway. So, this is no different. But you're not, like I said, you're not asking somebody, hey, can I take money out for this? Now, people bring up special needs trust. And with a special needs trust, there are some differences. One of which, I believe you're not allowed to spend it on rent. And I don't think you're allowed to spend it on groceries. There are some limitations. I think the money's a little harder to get to with a special needs trust, and it usually costs a little bit more money. So, just keep that in mind. And I'm not advocating for one or the other. I just think that both of these accounts are different, and it's really a good idea to know how to use both of them, because you can have them both at the same time. One of the things people ask about a lot is vacations and can my funds be used to go on vacation? I was able to look it up and this is what I found online. They're not going to give us really specific information, but what they basically said is if the vacation is used as a disability specific, like a conference or a summer camp or something like that, then yes, there's no problem with spending that money on that type of vacation. If it's not a disability specific vacation, probably not. Although, if it is supported by a doctor's script, then you are probably more likely to be able to spend it on that. So, just keep that in mind whenever you're, if you do decide to, take a big chunk of money out and spend it on something like that, you would probably want a doctor's written script stating that this, was something that was needed. Okay, so when you spend money from your account, you can do it a few ways. You can transfer it into that personal checking and savings account that you have, or you can get the stable Visa card. The Visa card is another little perk that comes with your Moable account. I believe it cost about $5 a month to have. And what makes this so awesome is that you can use it anywhere that Visa is accepted. It's a loadable card. So you put the amount of money on that card that you want on there. The reason this is so good is because let's just say you lose it or, something happens. If somebody does get that card, they're only allowed access to the amount of money that you've loaded onto it. So they do not have access to your entire account. I know some people who've told me that they will get this card. And if you are on the account as well, like let's just say you're a guardian, you can get a card too. So you both have one. So they will load. I had a dad tell me he puts about $200 on it for his adult daughter who lives with him. So when she goes out, she has money. She doesn't have to worry about transferring it over or anything like that. And that way she always has cash available to her. And then when it starts to get low, they will alert you that your balance is getting low and then he will put more money on it. So this is just a really nice, easy way if you're, going out to get groceries or whatever it is you're doing. I believe you can transfer up to $5,000 at a time onto this account. And there's no overdraft or anything like that to worry about. So if you do open an Able account, definitely look into that option. Okay, so there's just a couple things I want to go over that are just real important. Keep in mind, balances over 100,000 are going to count as a resource, but your SSI will only get suspended and not terminated. If you hold on to your money from one calendar month to the next, housing expenditures are going to count as resources. I don't know why this was written into the law, but it was. So just keep in mind housing expenditures, and probably those are the biggest expenditures. So let's just say you transferred, $2,000 into your account to pay your rent, but you didn't use it. You want to put it back in your Moable account by the next month. That's the only thing that's the only time you need to worry about that. Account holders' own wages are still going to count as income, even if you put them in a Moable account. And I know I've mentioned that a couple times. I just want to make sure that we understand that. So it's not like you can hide it. You're still it's going to be income. But then once you have it, you have it in your checking account and you have, let's say, $2,000 in your checking account next month. If you go over that, it's going to be a problem. So what do? You can put it in your Able account. If the account holder passes away, the account will pass to the account holder's estate and it will go through the normal probate process. There is something called Medicaid payback. You might be aware of this, but basically, anytime you have money to your name and you've been receiving Medicaid, they can come in afterwards and they can ask for money back. So, why would you want to put it in your Able account? Well, it's better protected in an Able account. For instance, there are limitations. They can't ask for anything that was before you opened your account. You can pay outstanding bills for qualified disability expenses. You can deduct any Medicaid buy-in premiums or pay for funeral and burial expenses from your Moable account before Medicaid can ask for any money back. And I do believe that's another thing you can't do with a special needs trust is the funeral expenses. You might want to check on that, but I have been told that from people who deal with special needs trust before. So once again, another great reason why having your money in this account is going to be safer than any other account. Special needs trust, you can have them both. Sometimes the criteria for able accounts aren't met if you've had your disability, before after the age of 26, or you need to put more than $19,000 a year in an account, you're going to want a special needs trust. So there are different, ways that you can use both of these, and you can transfer your money from a special needs trust to an able account. I saw that someone did have a question about that. And yes, that's definitely possible. Also 529 accounts, if you have a 529 account, you can transfer that into an able account. So all of these tools can be used together. It's pretty easy to transfer those funds. Okay, so now what? Now that you know a lot more about able accounts, what we want everyone to do here at the treasurer's office is we want everybody to feel comfortable talking about them, going online, looking at them, finding out more about it. We want these accounts to stay around. It was a long, hard fight to get them, and we want to make sure people are using them. Every year, the Governor's Council on Disability does a survey, and in the section for employment, they asked, if you have a disability, do you currently have a job, or are you looking for a job? Well, one of the biggest factors of not having a job is fear of losing benefits, not being able to keep much money due to the rules of the benefits programs. And I just find this sad that people still feel this way, because these accounts are out there. I want everyone to know about them. If you want to have employment, if you want to save for your future, it's definitely something you should be able to do. And I just think it's really important that everyone talk about these, because word of mouth and just not being afraid to get online and look at it, knowing you only need $25 to open it. And these are all really good things to know. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So it's just real important that we're educated about Moable accounts. And this slide, I like showing this to everybody because this one's actually from September. I think we have one from December that I haven't gotten in yet, but I get reports every month every 3 months from Stable. And we do have board meetings. There's a Moable board. We sit on the board. I have to account for our growth every 3 months. And if you look at this map, you're going to see that you might be surprised at some of the numbers. There are counties that have one account right now. There are counties that have 3 accounts right now. So it's definitely giving us a lot of room for improvement, and we really love getting to talk to families and talk to people to explain to them what the benefits of these accounts are. We want to see these numbers go up, and we want to see people being able to save and get employment and do all the things they want to do in their lives. So this is the number that you can contact Stable, and you can email them, and you can go online and look at their website. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 8 Eastern time. So they have really great availability. I highly recommend talking to them. You will get a person, you will have someone you can talk to. If for some reason you don't get the answers that you need, please don't hesitate to call us here at the treasurer's office. This is Treasurer Malik. He's very dedicated to the program. He wants everybody to use the program. And that's my job, is to make sure that you guys understand it. I have my phone number and my email down there, and I will definitely get back to you if you email me or call me. You will get a real person, you'll get me, and I will find an answer for you if I don't know the answer. So that's what I have for you today. And I just want to say thank you again for letting me share all this information with you.
We do have a few questions that I wasn't sure about, so I'd love to present them to you if you could kind of answer. One of them that I did think was really interesting was about the any kind of growth from the able account. So specifically, if the investment counted as income, so over the year, if if the Able account does well,
Mhm.
um, does that, if any interest or dividends, capital gains, all that kind of good stuff. What does that look like for the Able accounts?
So any money that's earned on investments is not counted as income. It is tax free. The only time it becomes an issue is if you get it over $100,000.
Okay.
So that $100,000 limit is still going to apply. So at that point, what you would want to do is maybe take some of that money and put it into a trust, or, you know, spend some of it on something fun. That's up to you. That is up to you if you decide that you want to go over that or you don't. There are people who have Able accounts who aren't on SSI, so it's not an issue for them. They just want to be able to put their money in these accounts. But if you are and you're worried about it, or maybe you don't get SSI but you're on Medicaid, the limit for Medicaid's higher, but there is still a limit. So I would definitely check with my benefits coordinator to find out in that specific situation. But I know that if it gets over $100,000, that's the only time it's going to be an issue. Or if it gets over, well, there's $19,000 a year if you're not employed. If you are employed, it's 34,550, I think. So those are the limits yearly as well. So you want to keep track of that. But other than that, no, that money that you're making on your investments is not going to be counted as income.
Thank you.
Yeah, and a lot of people are surprised that it is an investment account. A lot of people didn't know that. They thought it was
Sure.
just a static account that sat there, but it's actually not. So,
Sure. Similar to the 529s. I think a lot of
yes,
people don't realize that as well.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. A few more. How does the number of Missouri Able accounts compare to other states? I saw you showed the one about just like the different counties,
Yeah,
in Missouri, but
we talked about this a little bit before. I can tell you what I know from. So we are part of Stable, which is
right.
run through the Ohio Treasurer. Stable has 13 states, and Ohio is ranked first, and we're second. So as far as our 13 states that we're all a part of, we are the second state. I can also tell you that we do not have the highest population of disabled people. So percentage wise, we're doing very well. But as you saw on that slide, we still have a long way to go. So,
Yeah.
but no, we are doing very well. Um, Treasurer Malik has been going around and just really advocating
Yep.
for Moable. And I don't know how far back you guys go, but Senator Schmidt, he at the federal level is advocating a lot for Moable. So we've got a lot on our side.
Yes.
So yeah, we're pretty active when it comes to Moable.
I will say, several of our staff and several of our participants and self-advocates, we were all at Disability Rights Legislative Day last month, and Governor Kehoe and the state treasurer
Did you,
Malik was
yeah, did you get to hear
we
him?
did. They both
Okay.
spoke and they both mentioned the Able accounts, which was just wonderful. And it was such a large crowd, so it was
Yeah.
wonderful for them to mention that in front of such a large crowd. So yeah,
Yeah.
they are. You're right. They're definitely mentioning it as much as they can and championing it. So yeah,
Yay.
it was great. So okay, just a couple more. Um, if you start a Moable account for $25, can I wait to put more money in it? They do have this family does already have a special needs trust.
Yes, you could do a couple things. First of all, that brings up a good point. You only ever have one Moable account. You do not. So if you use your account and you open it, but you never fund it, you still have a Moable account. You just don't have any money into it. So an account is not considered active until it's funded. So it has to be funded with at least $25. Once it's funded, it will stay open. But keep in mind, there are fees. So that money will whittle down because you're going to get charged about $3 a month. If it's funded, it's active.
Okay, so if you is it always charged a fee even if you're using it?
Yes. So
Okay.
there's a $27 fee a year.
Okay.
and they divide it by months.
Okay.
So that $25 will get whittled away.
Sure.
But if you just open an account and you don't fund it, that's not considered an active account. So you have those options. You can open one and not fund it. But because you only ever have one account, let's just say you save up for something and 10 years from now, you're like, I don't need it anymore. You don't use it. And then you decide a couple years down the line, hey, I want to save up for something again. When you go online, they're going to give you the same account number. Everything's going to be the same.
Okay.
So that $555,000 lifetime limit is still going to apply. So if you used to have $300,000 in your mobile account and it's gone, you're going to start, your lifetime limit is going to start at 300,000, if that makes any sense. So if you ever get up to where you've, collectively saved 555,000, that's all you're ever going to be able to put in your account.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
so if someone, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If someone opened it but hasn't funded it, they're okay then.
yes, it's
Yes. Okay.
open, but it's not considered active.
Okay. Okay. We really do just appreciate all of the wonderful information that you shared with our families tonight. Thank you, Yvonne, for being here
Thank
with us
you.
tonight. We
We
really do
appreciate you
appreciate.
guys too.
Yeah, thank you. We really, really do. Thank you, everyone that's been on with us tonight. Thank you for your amazing questions. They really were great. They kept the conversation going. We do appreciate it.